When I say Mavericks on the, you say move. Mavericks on the move. Mavericks on the move. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Mavericks on the Move. My name is Jamilah Corbitt. I am the creator and host of Mavericks on the Move, where we bring together entrepreneurs and business professionals to create symbiotic partnerships. We have an awesome lineup for you guys today. We're discussing branding strategies so you can increase your visibility for your business and gain new clients. Stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. To advertise a product or service on the show, visit mavericksonthemove.com/partner. My first guest is an expert at bridging the gap between what you do and the people and businesses that need what you do. Please help me welcome to the stage, Jamilah Corbitt. Welcome, Jamilah.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
So awesome to have you in the seat.
Appreciate you.
So before we get started, I want to know what compelled you to start your business, Intuitive, and that's such an interesting name.
Appreciate it. So really what my journey started with is I wanted freedom, and working too many design jobs where I didn't feel like I was free to actually showcase my talent. I really got my first shot when I was freelancing and straight out of college, pretty much. So what happened was I applied for a couple of internships. You get turned down, and we'll keep your portfolio on file. We'll call you back. Well,
I know what that means.
Yeah. But it actually happened with one company. And they called me back, and they said, you know what, we want you to design a logo for our company. And I did not know what I was doing. That was my first time ever freelancing. And I went down there, went through the process, figured out as I was going along. But I love the freedom that I had from that, and it was exciting. So from there forward, I was like, I definitely want to do this.
And you caught the entrepreneur bug just from that.
Definitely.
Because you were able to do what you love and make money from it.
Yeah.
And the possibility of making a lot of money from what you do.
Definitely. A lot of money.
And as a brand strategist, I know that you encounter people getting branding and marketing confused. So what exactly is branding? Can you define that for us?
So branding and marketing is like cousins, but they are slightly different, as in marketing is pretty much like when you're going to approach a female and you're going to try to convince her why you should get her number. So you're trying to get her number.
Oh,
so
I like that.
So your pickup line is pretty much marketing, like what it is that you say to convince somebody that, they should give you their value or show them the value that you have in particular. So branding is the reason why you won the date, is how you made them feel. Like, what was it about you in particular that made them feel that way? Was your personality, your looks? And then if you keep that consistently over time, then that makes you build that relationship, because it's like, it's authentic. Like, they keep showing up consistently, the same messaging, the same look and feel. So that's branding.
Yeah, and I like the analogy of a date, because in marketing, you're basically trying to get the pockets.
Right.
You want to get into the pockets, but a lot of people, they make the mistake of trying to get into the pockets before they even court the person.
Right. Exactly. It's like going in for the kiss and you just met the person.
Right. Like, whoa, back up. You trying to get into my pockets already? Yeah. So I totally get that. But what makes a good brand?
So pretty much there's a lot of different aspects to it. I would say first and foremost, a brand that is true to what their purpose is and their promise. So whatever it is that you're messaging, that you're trying to give out to the world with the value that your company brings, is pretty much your brand's promise. And that really, at the end of the day, withstands if your brand is actually good or not. Because if you don't live up to it, then of course, your audience is going to tell you that your brand isn't what you say it is.
Let's talk about brand promise. How do we come up with the brand promise? What is that?
So really that derives from what your purpose is. So the reason why you even started your brand, what differentiates you from your competitors, like what makes you different, what makes you unique, and the reason why, that you're doing this in the first place. And how you pretty much communicate that is the reason why people should purchase your product or choose you for your services. So that really, deep down inside, is the reason why that you're even running your business, that you're even selling your product. That promise of like what makes you different is exactly what your brand's promise is.
And it sounds like it exemplifies your core values, and those core values is the heartbeat of your company, and the heart connects with other hearts, and that's how you get the money, right? That's how you keep the money flowing.
Definitely make that connection, make people feel that special connection with your company, whether, whatever the feeling is that evokes them, if it's a luxury brand, the first time you get it, or like that iPhone, unraveling the packaging of it, that, that feeling that you get on like Christmas morning when you're a child. So that's pretty much.
And what are some of the common myths about branding?
I've been told that, like, what I've heard in particular is that, like, a brand is like a logo, and it's just there, or the brand is just like the front of the company, like the look and feel, and just stops there. And it's like, nah, it's the emotion, it's the gut feeling, a reason why, you go to a grocery store and it's like a tons of different options. You're going to on one aisle of just like the same product. There's like tons of different sugar companies all selling sugar. It's like, why should I choose yours over the other person? And so, that emotion that, whether it's the emotional buy over price, or the packaging looks a certain way that makes them want to choose that product, that pretty much is.
And let's say a company is just starting out. This is a startup that's limited in its capital. So what are some branding strategies or techniques that we can do ourselves, like kind of like a do-it-yourself strategy, instead of hiring like a big old company? Or maybe we're not ready to hire someone like you. What can people do on their own?
I'll say that really boils down to like self-awareness is super key when it comes to that, because that would give you clarity. Knowing who you are and pretty much accepting who you are, it gives you the clarity to know what you're not. So you won't be trying to shoot for whatever is trending. You shoot for what works for you, what your natural strengths are, and now give you clarity of the direction that you're supposed to be going in.
What is brand identity, and why is it important for a startup company to develop their brand identity before they develop these fancy logo and a cute little website?
So for all companies, it's a little different, but most companies in the market is usually like the logo is the first thing that people recognize your company for. Like if it's a store, we see that logo out front of the store, we know, that's you, or that same color. And so being consistent with that same look and feel, that messaging, or if it's a certain image, then you want to keep that consistent.
So does the logo come first? It's like the chicken and the egg question. Mm-hmm. What comes first, the logo or the core values, and then you create the logo from the core values? Like, what's the process behind a good logo so we can develop our brand identity?
Definitely. I would say the core values first, so you know exactly what your messaging is, so that you're attracting your right target audience and not just something that looks good because you like it. So it's really based off of a design that's communicating what your brand's purpose is and its message, but at the same time, it's also communicating to that ideal target audience that you're going for.
And I want you to touch on, because you touched on this a little bit, the emotional impact of branding. Why is that important? And is it more than just throwing some colors together? You're like, oh, let's say I like the color yellow, but I'm in a field that I shouldn't be using yellow in. And it creates that, because I like the color yellow, it still evokes an emotional response, maybe subconsciously, from a potential customer. So how important is it for the emotional impact of a brand to create a good color scheme?
Colors evoke different emotions in particular. That's why, if you would see health companies or anything that's selling products that's geared towards like keeping the earth clean or healthy, it's always usually green, because that's what that color evokes. Green
and brown.
Yeah,
I see that a lot.
Definitely all earth tones. So that evokes the same thing. So even with red, you see with stop signs, it's something that's very alerting. So if you want to use yellow for your logo, depending on what your company is actually after, it can work in certain markets. You could be outside of the box, but that would determine what the name of your company is. That would kind of give it that twist to it, where you could actually step outside the box and be different by using a color that's not necessarily would be used in a certain market. Like if it's a corporate company, then you want to use like your navy blues, your dark reds, your black and white, something very simple, very classy. And so if you want to stand out in that market, it really that plays a huge role in that as well, what you're trying to say.
How can business owners develop their brand objectives?
I say that still goes back to, as far as what your goals is and your purpose is for your brand. So it's really just at the end of the day, narrowing down where it is that you want to go in the long term, and then just knocking those down into each steps and goals in order to accomplish that.
And I know with your company, Intuitive, you've helped a lot of companies develop their brands from scratch. Can you walk us through your process of developing a brand? Because I know you have like step 1, step 2, step 3. Can you share that with us?
Definitely. I actually use the same concept as like a psychiatrist, like a doctor would. So like the brand strategy session that I use is pretty much really just like a self-awareness assessment, where I first try to diagnose what the problem is, because I really believe you can't help somebody if you first don't seek understanding of what the problem actually is. So I just ask a bunch of questions to sit back and listen, and just to really narrow down what exactly is their primary focus that's stopping them from accomplishing their goals. So once I figure out what that is, then I do a deeper dive into figuring out, what are their goals and what it is that they're trying to accomplish, what their strengths and weaknesses are. Because that way, if you know what placates naturally to you for you to win, why not continually do that so you can win? Don't try to do something that's out of the box, doesn't come natural to you, because you're not going to win that way. And so we use that and then help find the brand's voice, which really differentiates you, especially in the market, because that really shows your personality. And nowadays, especially with social media, a lot of companies are buying into the personality more so than the product itself. There's a lot of products that aren't of quality, though, but the personality behind the brand, we buy into that so much. We just like it so much that, it just goes along with it. It's that feeling that they give you if you can connect to it.
Let's say the business owner they don't have the eye, the creative eye. What are some do-it-yourself apps that we can use to create our own brand identity and graphics for social media to make them look all pretty and stuff?
Canva.
Lifesaver. Anyone out here use Canva? Canva's awesome.
Canva, definitely number one. I would say Canva. If you really was on like a small budget, really don't want to spend that much, I really hate to say it, but I would say go to Fiverr for like a logo. It's the simplest way you can just get something that's very simple. If you are just starting out, I wouldn't advise it, but if you really just need to get the ball rolling for initially just starting out, that's the way to get a quick logo, out the way. But Canva, other than that, for like all your print material needs, promotional needs, definitely Canva. Do it yourself.
Let's back up, because you said something about Fiverr. Don't use Fiverr. You're telling everyone not to use Fiverr for their logo. Why?
You get what you pay for. So
True.
It has been rare cases that clients I met that did get the logo through Fiverr, and it was actually pretty good. It's really just kind of like winning the lottery. You're gambling, when you do that, but the percentage rate isn't that high. So at the end of the day, you're going to need another rebranding. So you have to pour the money out again and go through that process all over again later on down the road. So it's best to just go ahead and get it done right the first time.
Knock it out the way, because a good brand can last over time. Just look at the most simple logo like Nike, or even McDonald's with the golden arches. Those are some great long-lasting brands that have stood the test of time. And McDonald's with their red and yellow logo, it just evokes hunger whenever you see that. Like, oh, I want McDonald's. But let's switch gears and talk about how social media can boost your brand. First of all, as a graphic designer, what's your favorite platform? And I think I know what you're going to say.
You already know it's Instagram.
I knew you was going to say that. I knew you was going to say that. Why?
Because it can just showcase visually like what you can do, especially with the videos that you can use through Instagram. You can really just herp and shine through what your personality is, and there's so many different techniques and strategies that's very simple to help you with Instagram. Matter of fact, I'll give an actual jewel of like what I do in particular. So one thing that I really struggled with on Instagram the most was being consistent with posting every single day, because I don't have that many projects or designs to post consistently every single day. So what I did, and to simplify that, is I was trying to build a community on there, which was tough. And so what I did in particular was I started reaching out to other designers and posting their work and curating.
I saw that.
So it's an easy way for me to post every single day, tag the artist, of course, in the caption, let them know that, they designed the work. So it's not, anything that I'm trying to copyright. But that also lets you build a design community within yourself for your own brand, because that way you're reaching out to other designers, you're showing them love, you're showcasing their work, and then it allows you to network, and it creates a conversation. And that's the easiest way that I can post every single day consistently to keep that algorithm running on Instagram.
Do you have a go-to social media platform that you get the majority of your business on?
I would say Instagram gives me a lot of leads from that. I would say Facebook and some LinkedIn.
I was about to ask you, are you a LinkedIn guy? Because I've had people on the stage that just swear by LinkedIn. But I guess it just depends on who you are as a person, the business, and how you're using the platform, right?
I would agree. I think LinkedIn is probably a little bit more efficient for companies just because of the fact that everybody's mind is on doing business when they go to LinkedIn, off the jump. But, it varies between different fields. But I really love LinkedIn in particular because of how I'm able to navigate the conversation, because you can get straight to the point. And it's it's not weird. Rather on Instagram, you go straight for just want to talk business, people would be
let me get in your pockets.
Right. Exactly.
And how can people reach you?
You can reach me. My website is intuitivecreate.com. Also on Instagram, intuitive_create. And on Facebook, Intuitive Creative Agency. And also my new store that I'm selling art on, originalbliss.store.
Let's give Navari another round of applause. If you're searching for a keynote speaker, panelist, workshop presenter, or host able to electrify audiences, Jamilah is the industry maverick you've been looking for. Visit JamilahCorbitt.com to learn more.
I have a question for you, sir. Can you update your brand and still have the same impact on your market?
Definitely. I went through the rebranding myself just recently. As long as you keep your personality the same, it's okay to make mistakes. And your brand and your audience will forgive you for it, as long as you're being authentic with your brand from the jump. So as long as you're communicating with them that you're going through this process and take them on a journey with you, then it's fine.
Thank you.
When we return, we'll hear from an internet marketing strategist who's going to help you increase your visibility online. Stay tuned. Today's show is brought to you by I Am a Brand, empowering you with the simple systems and tools to connect your products and services to the people that need them the most. PMI Silver Spring Chapter, practitioners of impact and a safe community for learning, growing, and enabling your professional development. Transformation Center of Excellence, integrating the behavior and management sciences for people and organizations to guide their transformation journey. My next guest has implemented marketing strategies for various businesses, helping them to attract new eyeballs and land more customers. Please help me welcome to the stage, Brian Lobick. Welcome, Brian. You have a lot of fans out there.
I try.
Before we get into the actionable tips, I want to learn a little bit more about you. How did you get into this line of work?
Well, I graduated from Marquette University Executive MBA program in 1997. And so that's when I took my first information systems class in my MBA program, and I learned how to do HTML. And so that's what kind of gave me the bug on web design back in 97 when I graduated. I built the Executive MBA's first website as a class project. And so ever since then, I've been kind of dabbling in web design. Every company I worked for, I always was either helping develop the website or involved in the data management part of the company. And so that kind of continued on until I finally started my business in 2010.
And you're an SEO guy, search engine optimization. This is what you do. This is your bread and butter. You know it like the back of your hand. What is personal brand SEO, and why is it important?
So personal branding SEO is a different kind of thing. It's when people think of search engine optimization, they're usually talking about trying to get a website on page 1 of Google for a keyword. Like if you're searching for plumbers in Baltimore. You want your website to be on that page one. Personal branding SEO is getting yourself, your own name visible on the internet in lots of different ways. And so it's kind of helping your personal brand become more visible throughout the internet without even a web page.
Okay, let's talk about how to do that. What does that mean? So you're telling me that I could be on page one of Google, which I am for my name anyway,
Yes, you
because it's such a unique name. But for someone with, let's say, Mary Jones, a very common name, how would Mary Jones, that is an internet marketing strategist, get on page one for her personal brand SEO?
Step one is really, it's a multi-pronged approach. And so especially if you have a name that's very common, it's a little more of an uphill battle to do that kind of thing. But what I would start with is the things that you have quick and easy access to, like social media. And so claim and optimize all those social media profiles with your name, with your personal name. Step two would be then start claiming some of those local directories related to the things you want to be known for. So if Mary Jones is a therapist, you want to make sure you sign up for a Psychology Today profile, even though it costs a little bit of money.
But it's worth it.
Absolutely. Every therapist practice I work with quite a few different therapy practices, and my number one recommendation, even before their website, is to get all their staff to have a profile on Psychology Today, because Psychology Today is well positioned in the search engines. If somebody's searching for a particular therapist in a local community, the Psychology Today is going to be on page one. And if you're not in there, if you're not in that directory, then you're going to be missing that opportunity. So there's social media, there's the directories, there is other kinds of web platforms like About.me, personal branding websites. You can create a free Wix website that you can get on page one of Google for your name and for the things you do. There's also networking type groups, and a lot of those networking groups, they give you the opportunity. Chambers of Commerce do this as well. They give you, when you join a Chamber of Commerce or a business networking group, a lot of times they'll give you a profile, the opportunity to create a profile on that platform about yourself. You can link all your social media to it, and then that helps increase your visibility through that platform as well, which is going to be those platforms, especially like a Chamber of Commerce. Those are some of the most highly visible and ranked websites on the internet for business. And so if you're in there, then it's going to propel your own personal brand as well.
You talk about getting business from these different web directories and these different sites. How has that impacted the trajectory of your business?
I think it's really been the foundation of growth for my business. As I was thinking through the different ways that I've gotten business and different platforms, so many of them point back to the social platforms and these different directories that I've been on. One example, and it usually is a spiraling or ripple effect. So an example was I was just recently asked to take over the LinkedIn local meetup group for Montgomery County.
Really? Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Kelly Leonard, who is a social media influencer, especially on a LinkedIn Pro, asked me if I would be interested in taking it over. I initially met her through LinkedIn. I asked her to participate in a workshop, and I only knew her through LinkedIn. She asked me, and so I agreed to take it over if I could get somebody else to help me with that. And the one person I thought of would be best is Tamika Smith, who's the on-air personality for NPR on the weekends. And I met her through Twitter. I reached out to her. I was connecting with people on purpose through Twitter in the local area because I was new to the Washington, D.C. area back in 2012, brand new. And so I started just reaching out intentionally to people who live in Washington, D.C., have in a similar kind of industry. I reached out to her at 11:30 at night, laying in bed. She tweeted me back at 11:35 and said, "Hey, I see you do branding. Do you work with people individually?" And so she hired me. We went to lunch the next day. She hired me, and I've known her ever since. And so I got that opportunity. All those opportunities were through that personal branding process, through social media in particular.
Wow, that's such a great success story. Let's say some people have a bad experience with your company and they go on a campaign to try to hurt your reputation. How can we as business owners get in front of that to minimize the negative impact online? Or does it really impact our personal brand SEO?
It can significantly impact your personal brand. I would say step one is to really be human. is figure out what went wrong with that relationship and reach out to that person without regard to, what is the online impact of this going to be. I would say, what is the human impact of this going to be first, and go about and try to resolve that relationship or make that the best you can. And so I would say go to all lengths you can in the non-digital world. As far as giving people, all their money back for a service that you have provided in total, I've done that before. I've given people thousands of dollars back because they weren't satisfied with the business, because I want to maintain that relationship, and I don't want that relationship to turn into something that could potentially become a harm. If it does happen though, and it does happen, I do relationship management. I just signed a contract today with a property management company, multi-unit apartment buildings down in Alexandria, and they hired me to do reputation management for their multiple units. And so they have a mix of reviews. They have some really, as you can imagine, apartment buildings, you're going to get a lot of people in and out. You get some bugs in an apartment, they're going to complain.
And I find that people always leave reviews when they're upset.
Right. Not
necessarily when they're happy.
Yep. So the key is, I like the book by, I forget his name, but it's called Hug Your Haters. And so use that as an opportunity. Don't take it personally. You can't have somebody responding to those reviews who takes things personally. So it might not be the site manager of that location. And so I would say embrace those negative comments and put yourself in that person's position and do everything you can to resolve and learn from that situation. Sometimes there's really nothing you can do. The person was harmed and they've left the community, and now they want to tell all their friends and everybody how bad that experience was. And so then you just, as they start posting on different platforms, I have a client now that has one person that had a bad experience with them, and they're posting on Google, they're posting on Yelp, they're posting on Alignable.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah, and so they're going, and so I would say go to each platform and respond kindly, positively about what you've done, how you've learned from it, what you're trying to do to correct it. People can see those things. People understand there's going to be negative situations that happen. In fact, it's actually, in my opinion, it's better to have a couple negative reviews on there because people see it's not all fake, because there are some, balanced reviews, or there might be a couple negative reviews. But then they're going to see what is the person's response. Did they copy and paste the same response to the negative review for the past 10 negative reviews? That's somebody that doesn't care about their customers. Did they post a response? I had after a negative review of a violin company in Bethesda. Because I went there to take to get an estimate on my bass, to fix a crack in one of my basses. I play bluegrass music, and so I wanted an estimate. So I went into the shop. I waited for 30 minutes. Nobody waited on me. Nobody took my name. I finally left out of there without anybody even acknowledging that I was present. So
wow.
I left a review saying, I was very disappointed with his experience. Nobody even acknowledged that I was there. Obviously, you were busy, but you could have said something to me. And so the owner of that company got onto, and so I gave him a 1-star review. Owner of the company got on there and said, "I'm so sorry about your situation. I'm going to talk to." He said this all on Yelp. I'm going to talk to my staff, even if it's unacceptable that that everyone should not be greeted when they come into our location. I'm going to talk to them about it. I hope you give us a second chance. And so I was like, wow, that's good. I changed my review to 3.
And did you give them a second chance?
I had already taken it to another location.
So they lost out on your business.
Yeah. Yep.
And how can people reach you, Brian?
The best way to reach me is on about.me. Because I like people to reach me the way they like to reach me. So some people are Twitter people, some people are Instagram people. And so all my social media, all LinkedIn, everything is on about.me/Brian Lobig.
There you go, your personal branding SEO right there.
Exactly. BRIANLOE as in egg, B as in boy, IG.
Low big.
Low big.
Let's give Brian another round of applause. Show the world you're a Maverick on the Move by grabbing your signature merch from our online store. Visit mavericksonthemove.com/shop to securely place your order. Worldwide shipping is available.
You mentioned taking control of handles on social media, but what if said handles are in use?
Good question. Interesting. So if that happens all the time. Like I just happened with a client of mine, Arlington Strategy down in Northern Virginia, and we were trying to do ARL Strategy, I think. It wasn't Arlington Strategies, Arlington Behavioral Therapy. And so we did ABTI, and it was already taken. And so what I would do in that situation is you have to tweak it. So you have to put a dash in there, put an underscore, but make it as consistent as possible. So on all the platforms you can use that acronym, use that handle that you can most consistently. It's best to find a handle. If you're just first developing it, find a handle that you can make consistent on all these platforms. In this case, the client had already had a couple of social media platforms where they had the specific handle. So we made the platforms that we could that handle, and then we had to tweak it and add an underscore on one of the other ones. So you just want to make it as consistent as possible.
When we return, we'll hear from business owners in the audience. Stay tuned. Visit MavericksOnTheMove.com to catch up on the latest episodes, stay up to date, browse pictures from past events, and to grab your signature merch.
My name is Sarit Arbel, and I am the Executive Director for BNI. BNI is the biggest networking organization in the world, which have 260,000 members in more than 72 countries worldwide. What we do is we meet on a weekly basis in more than 9,000 different chapters in the world and pass referral to each other. In the past 12 months, we passed $16 billion with a B dollars in thank you for closed business. You can find me at Sarit at bnicentralmaryland.com.
And that's today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're catching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this a thumbs up, share it out, and comment. Remember, each one teach one, each one reach one. When we return, we'll hear from my next guest has
You're overthinking it.
I am. Actually, I want to start that over. I want to do all that over. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jamilah. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
I had a great time. Jamilah was awesome. The guests on the show were great. It was great hearing their stories, and I am so excited to come back next month.
So the whole thing was awesome. Like, I enjoyed my time here. Like, I want to come more. Honestly, great show.